Hey friends, welcome back to Bryan's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. I hope everyone's having a great week. Now today's case is very different. It happened up in northern Alaska, but before we get started, I wanted to explain a few things to you. With some search and rescue teams, if you're part of an SAR team that is an official team, the information is secure, so they can't release it to the public the way. Unfortunately, in some cases, I can't give you all the information or the exact information. I have to change the names or change certain things. That's why when I work search and rescue, I work with nonprofits, because that allows me to make my videos. Now, in this case happened up in northern Alaska about 10 years ago. It is unbelievably bizarre. So this hiker was hiking in northern Alaska, very experienced. He was 43 years old. At the time of this case, he was 43 years old. He was not only a hiker, but he was a hunter. Now, he was going up in northern Alaska. I'm not exactly sure of the exact point, but I'm going to put a map up here and show an X of the rough estimate where he was. He was hunting and he was out by himself. Now, he had been an experienced hunter. He was out for a 3-day hunt, so to speak. Now, after he didn't show back up at home for 3 days, obviously his friends and family went out and started looking for him. Now, up in there, they didn't have a full search and rescue team, so they sent out a bunch of hikers, people, and this went on for over 2 weeks. They searched high and low for this man. They did an amazing job. I mean, they went from some of the steepest areas. All of his hunting buddies got involved in the search. This terrain is very, very difficult and very, very steep. They did an amazing job searching these woods, and they were out there looking for him for weeks. They couldn't find him. They had no idea what could have possibly happened to him. This terrain, it goes from sort of a flat area to high mountains. They knew what he was hunting for. They stayed out there for weeks, camping, looking for him, looking for any type of tracks, and these guys are very experienced. Not only are they hunters, but they have experience in tracking. Some of these guys were ex-military. They spent, like I said, weeks searching for him, and the conditions got worse. The weather got worse. It was cold. These guys spent nights out in the wilderness, which can be very tough, especially when you're basically have no clue what you're looking for. Unfortunately, all they knew was that this guy was in this northern Alaskan area. They knew that he was hunting a certain animal, but that's really all they knew. They didn't know what else he was carrying. They knew obviously he was carrying his weapon and some other survival gear. They brought out search dogs. They looked and looked, and they found nothing. They even brought in a special search team from the local town that volunteered to help look for him. These people had no idea who this guy was. They just helped with the search. And even after all that, they couldn't find him. Unfortunately, the weather continued to deteriorate. However, these people and his friends were so dedicated to trying finding him, they kept up the search. One of these men had this idea that he might have gone up into this northern part where I can't specify the exact location, but he knew that there was a hunter's nest there, and he thought possibly that his friend George had gone there. However, the weather, since it continued to deteriorate, there was more snow moving in, the temperatures were way below freezing. They were just really, really struggling at this point. However, at this point, this one hunter friend of him, he was walking along and he found one of his friend's boots, and it was frozen solid in the snow, in the ice. Obviously, this was a huge concern to him. So he looked around, he looked up, he saw his friend frozen solid to a tree in what normally would be a hunter stand, or this was just a basic one. So his friend was frozen solid there. He looked at him and he couldn't figure out what was going on, so he climbed up. His friend was literally frozen to this tree. He noticed some tracks around the tree. He dug around. He found his rifle because it had been snowing a lot, so the rifle had been covered in snow. He also found tracks, but they were mainly deer tracks. Another animal that was unusual in the area, I'll show a picture of it. This guy had no idea what had possibly happened to his friend. He had obviously climbed up. He was in his hunting spot, which was well known to George. The other tracks were of a wolverine, which is one of the most dangerous animals in the wilderness, but they rarely go after humans. But they only weigh about 50 pounds and they can take down a caribou, mountain lion. They are a vicious, vicious animal. There was no signs of any injury on this man. He had no idea what happened. Despite wolverines being one of the most aggressive animals in the forest, they can smell carcasses underground. There was no sign of any attack on him. There was no injury on him. He was just frozen to this tree. It was almost like he dropped his weapon and just froze to this tree. There was no logical answer for what had happened to him. Something happened. Maybe he dropped his rifle. But the ironic thing was, one of his boots was on the ground about 20 yards away, frozen. His friend was frozen in this tree. So how did this happen? His friend had no idea what could have happened to his poor friend. After long investigations, they did the coroner, the medical examiner, all that. They still found no reason for the cause of death. It was just almost like he was just frozen in time. It is just one of the most enduring mysteries in northern Alaska. They did find bobcat footprints in the area as well, but other than that, they didn't find anything else besides his boot and his rifle on the ground and him frozen to the tree. So no one knows what happened. It is just one of the craziest stories I've ever heard about. And unfortunately, because of when it happened and where it happened, a lot of the information isn't available to the public, but it's just one of the most bizarre and insane stories I've ever read and heard about. His friends have a couple of theories. They thought maybe he had a heart attack, and because of the temperatures of the time, they thought maybe he froze to death. But because the way that they found him, he was frozen standing, like in a standing position, which is just so bizarre. And they had never seen anything like that before in their lives. They didn't understand why the boot was found so far away. Possibly due to all the weather, and maybe he just dropped his weapon. It was just, no one could figure out what happened. And like I said before, it's still just one of those enduring mysteries. I want to thank you all for watching. As always, special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music. And I'll see you guys in the next one. This story was definitely very crazy. I honestly, just hearing about it was unreal, but I wanted to share it with you. And I'm going to be going up north to Snoqualmie Pass to work with some nonprofits and do some searches. Some of these people have been missing for over 2 years, so they're recovery missions, but I have my angel coins that I'm going to leave there, and I'd love to meet any of you that are willing to meet me, and I'd love for you guys to subscribe. I know never asked that, but I don't know, the subscribers things, I guess in the summer, don't it's not the same. So I'd love for you guys to subscribe. Anything you guys need or have any questions for me or want any stories to cover, any missing people that you know, or cases that you want me to cover, I will be happy to do so. You just have to let me know and I'll be on it. Thank you so much as always for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, and I hope you're all having a great weekend. I don't have all the information as I normally do in all my videos, but I would like to dedicate this video to George, his friends and family, and everyone that helped look for him and find him and help bring him home. And I'm sorry to have to ask you guys this, but I really would like you to subscribe and just give me any advice that you want me to do on my channel so that I can keep donating to search and rescue and keep doing search and rescue and helping others. I know I don't usually show myself in videos, but I just wanted to say hello. And yes, I do have 2 different color eyes, so it's not crazy, it's just weird. One green and one blue. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.